MV3 Traders Futures Trade Radio is brought to you by The Ultimate Trader's Guide, your one-stop shop for the most valuable income-producing information on the internet. Go to ultimatetradersguide.net to learn more. Link in the description below. All right, what's going on? How we doing? Hope everybody had a good weekend. Interesting start for this week. Really low volume, and it feels like it's also low ATR, all of that stuff, right? And it feels like these funded programs is trying to give it a boost with all the sales that they got going on. We got Apex, they got a 90% sale for the first month, and then 80% for the following months. And then Lilu, they posted. I think they sent an email last night that they also have a 90% sale for most of their accounts and some other stuff. So I'll probably be posting a community tab after this stream, our community post after this stream, with all that information and links and all that good stuff for anybody that's interested in funded trading. And I already posted my pre-market awareness to Twitter and the Discord. Had a little bit of a dip overnight and some retracement. We went back to the bull zone, so my trade bias is long. That's just for me personally, and we'll see how things open up here within the next 10 seconds. One more thing I want to mention, to also be on the lookout for another video, is I've already started the process to transition the Ultimate Trader's Guide to a more efficient platform than what I was using before. So that's in the process. But if you go to ultimatetradersguide.net now, and you're trying to find like the Sierra chart guide or the Ultimate charting guide, then or any of the other resources inside of the Ultimate Trader's Guide, then it should take you to a page where you can just have direct access to it until I get everything, situated with the migration. But anyway, just wanted to put those things out, so let's go ahead and focus. We're back inside the neutral zone. We're in Q, finding some inventory off the PR high, PR 50. Trading below A1, kind of hovering over this automation point here at 72. Right, so let me just watch it get in tune, get in sync with what NQ is doing right now. Make sure I'm locked in, and I wasn't completely locked in Friday. It's like NQ has found this range from the overnight. I had a broken rotation up there at 80. Reset that at 70. So now our main rotation point will be at 50. Found some inventory around 56. I'd like to see some sort of supplier inventory response off of A1. We're kind of picking up inventory off of A1 for the open. Now we're back above A1. That gives us a new wave higher. We've broken the previous waves from those supply drops. Still pushing the supply. A little bit of momentum going on here. Taking the elevator. Making our way to the session high at the whole number 13,100. There's a break. Showing some follow through. Potential retest or break back inside the range. May just keep going in this low volume environment, low participation, or we may go back to the range. Now if we make it back below 96, that'll be an interesting point to see what happens, what follows. Could be a liquidity creation zone. There we go. There's the break below 96. I want to see if we keep going from here, or do we respect that inventory that we just picked up around 1390. Back into the new highs. taking a supply break up here at 115. Got this little tiny range up here between 112 and 116. We saw that supply response. Actually did have a little signal up there, but I wasn't interested in that little baby scalp that it gave me. We're gonna drop the inventory. We had set some inventory there at 112. Now we're dropping it. We got A1 right above 104-ish. Inventory response off of A1. Now there we go. Skipped the elevator and jumped on the rocket. It's really in this. It makes sense the kind of price action that we're getting because it's just not much to work with. It's either going to be have a lot of these momentum bursts like this, or it's going to be heavily range bound in these extremely low participation environments. I'm definitely not trying to force anything. I do, and to being honest with myself, I do have a bias to these low volume days, these low vol days. Typically I'm not crazy about the setups that it gives me, but that's a personal issue for me. Because when I go back and like review the day, usually I see that there were plenty of opportunities to take advantage of. It's just that I was in my head. Took a quick scalp there from that awareness. And I can definitely see this thing continuing to climb. And if you look at the 3 minute, that could be read as what's the term people like to use? I done completely remove those terms from my vocabulary for the most part. The reason I pretty much developed my own language in a way, and I don't really use the typical terms for the most part, because those terms contribute to this whole 90+% failure rate. So why would I continue to use these same terms when apparently by the statistics they're not helping people as much? connotated definition of insanity. Alright, so we did get a slight lift of the supply, but came back inside of that range. Now we'll be seeing there should be some liquidity below 120. It's, probably not much, but enough if they want to use that. If there's enough for our wholesale. They took us back to that inventory and gave us another inventory response. Seems like there wasn't enough for them to do whatever they want to do with it. So let's create some more. Let's get some more buyers in there. Create some stops below that. And I just lost power or something for like a brief second, which is weird. So I'm definitely not gonna take any more trades today until I figure out what that is all about. It's hard to tell exactly what happened because I only saw my monitors go off. And everything else is off laptops, and I don't have that much else going that's running directly off of power, so that was strange. Good thing I got my my UPS, so it didn't mess my charts up or anything. But at the same time, I don't even know if it was just the UPS or whatever, or if it was actually the power. Could be a neighbor messing things up. Alright, so anyway, we're still holding this shop here. We did lift the inventory slightly from 120 to 122.4-ish. Another supply response above 130, so that supply zone above 130 is holding for now. It appeared to be some very short-lived time-based volatility there at 9:45. Back to our 120 inventory. Do we hold it or do we drop it? So really we're below that last inventory lift. That's in that 122 to 124 range. And now we're going to keep dropping the inventory. So that was the initial drop of the inventory. And now we're finding cheaper inventory very slowly making our way down there below 118. I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to hold this range. It's budgeting our way down into cheaper inventory. That can be looked at as a supply response off of the A1 low. If I'm still looking to be a buyer, I would like to see a wave higher off of this. This inventory hunt. And the price action also is kind of decent to still be somewhat aggressive, because we are seeing inventory responses on the way down. So we do have some buy participation coming in these cheap inventory levels. It's just a matter of if they are strong enough to push us higher. And then how high does it go? Also keeping awareness of A1 in that 120 area, the 121 area, 122-ish. So our last quick inventory was off of 120. Last quick supply was off of 120. That's why I'll be using as a reference for a wave higher for now. Came right back to that 112 inventory. Still getting a response. Dropped it a couple ticks, couple points. Now we're still pushing still going on this inventory hunt. And 20. Let's see, yeah, that's also, 120 is also my point of reference for the rotation. So I'll be looking if nothing else changes, which as I speak could be. Alright, so if nothing else changes, my rotation will be at 100. Which coincidentally is also the overnight high. So 120 is my reference point for several things. The wave higher, I can kind of look at that quick supply response at 112 as a reference for another wave. But I personally like to use seasoned supply and inventory to reference my waves and all that stuff. Everything that I like to look at. Okay, so inventory down to 108. Nice inventory response off of that 108. Coming into to 8 minutes left, or 8 minutes before B period. Well, my ticks, there's an interesting wick created off that last print, off that 108 inventory. So we'll definitely expect to see that pushes supply that we just saw. Quick supply response off of A1 at 118. So it brought our supply back above automation. Let's see if we could, nope, go right back to that 110 inventory zone. I was trying to see if we were going to get an inventory response off of 116 area. Now we're getting serious about our inventory search. Drop the inventory to 104. Playing the stops that were created there. Got 4 minutes before B period, so gotta remind myself there's no trades for me right now. Take my hand off the trigger. Kinda made that mistake Friday also and paid for it. Not following my rules. When I went back and I reviewed Friday, I was like all thrown off. So I just wasn't. I was reading my rotations wrong. I was doing all kind of stuff. This is why it's just important for to review your sessions afterward. This is why I record all my sessions and I take screenshots and all that stuff. And again, that's why it's very important to have risk management rules. So that when because some days you're just not gonna bring your A game. And it's happened to me several times. It doesn't happen as much as it used to, of course. They're my days where I'm just completely off. They're far and few apart. But it's important to have risk management rules and all that stuff in place, so when you do have those days and you don't recognize it in the moment, as long as you can follow those rules, your risk management rules, and your plan and all that stuff from that perspective, then you should be good. Of course, that's going to be based on exactly how you're managing that risk. But You know, I don't like to say like any specific numbers or anything like that to what's supposed to be a quote unquote good risk management. It's going to be subjective. For instance, if you got a strategy that has a 50% win rate, then, you know, maybe something like you don't risk more than, I don't know, like 2% of your total capital, right, on every trade. And then if you take 3 trades and if you take 3 losers in a given session, then you may be done for the day. That may work for a strategy like that with like a 50% win rate. If you got a 90+% win rate, or 85 with one of those high win rates, right, you can, depending on a lot of different other variables, you could probably get away with risking a bit more than the industry standard 1 to 5%. But I would highly recommend to risk as little as you possibly can. Right? Don't be trying to take your what's been historically high percent win rate and risking 50% of your account that's been working, right? And then that just all it takes is one day to just completely destroy all of that. And I say all that from experience, but you can do what you want to do. But I'm not just making this stuff up, or I'm not just regurgitating something that I heard. I've actually experienced this stuff, and there's a lot of value in experiencing all of these beliefs for yourself to see what truth that they carry for yourself, and how you like to show up to these environments. So now we at the B period, almost 1 minute into the B period, so I was going to do that. Back inside that overnight range. And we are getting supply responses to A1. While I was talking, I wasn't really counting my rotations. Let me clear all this. Got some drawings on the board. Clear that off. What's that? 110. So 190, which we've closed below, is the rotation. Good rotation point because we are back inside that overnight range. And usually if you spend some time outside the range, the overnight range, and you go back inside the range, you're usually going to stay inside that overnight range, or you're going to keep going in the opposite direction. So like here is the lower probability that we make it back above, that we start trading, like within this, of course, in this morning session, it's a low probability that we actually go back above the overnight high and start trading again into above the overnight high where we were just, where we had all our action for the last like 15 minutes. But I say it's a low possibility, but it's not impossible, right? So don't want to start changing our trading plan just off of what usually happens. Stick to the plan, stay consistent. Little supply response with a nice little volume gap above 92. Coming back to VWAP. Of course, we expect to see some sort of action around VWAP. Also got some automation down there around 1380. away from A1 at 96. You kind of get a higher low. I'm looking for higher highs now. There it is. A1 dropped to 92. Let's see if we get a supply response up there. That's in our previous supply zone. A little bit of front run action. Supply response at the low of that supply zone. Back to VWAP. Slight drop of the inventory. Now we got serious about dropping the inventory, so we're still hunting for cheaper inventory. Our main inventory off of, if we zoom out and look at a 3-minute period, it's going to be at the PR low, PR -1, that 360 to 352 zone. Wouldn't be surprised to see if we got some buyers hanging out there. Wouldn't be surprised to see a front run of the PR low at 1360. Getting close. I do have some on my 3-minute perspective. I do have some automation points around 65. So there's a front run at 67 off the PR 50. Still very mechanical. Back to VWAP. Pause for some supply. We're negotiating here around the VWAP and these automation points. 1382 to 78. There's our supply response mechanically off of A1. End of my window, so no trades for me, and I'm saying that out loud because I feel my trigger finger itching. If I even get a signal or an actual trigger to take, but even if I do, I'm not taking it. It's gonna be a one and done day for me. And what I found with discipline, it helps to say things out loud, especially when it comes to following your rules and following the plan. It's the way that it works by way of frequencies. Just keep it in your head. It's not as solid as if you speak it out loud. For me personally, everybody's different. It's kind of adding that extra layer of awareness into it. Like, so Friday I didn't. The mistakes that I was making, I wasn't really speaking it out loud. What my rules were supposed to be and how I was supposed to be doing what I do. I'm sure some lack of sleep played a role in that as well, but anyway, it is what it is. But the point that I'm making is it helps with discipline and consistency when you're vocal about what you're supposed to be doing. Let me rephrase that. It has helped with discipline and consistency when I have vocalized what I'm supposed to be doing. Again, I like to speak from as it really is. This is my experience. Your experience can definitely be different. And this goes back to my motto, great trades come from within. Trust yourself more than you trust me or anyone else that you hear externally. So that supply at 78.80, that's holding up. So they got nice supply response there. So we're kind of budgeting or battling, depending on what perspective you want to hold, between 80 and 72. We've got that supply at 80 and the inventory off of 72. We can also still look at that bigger picture, that 3-minute picture, 60 and a half area, the inventory, as a potential target for shorts or anyone trying to, any sort of buyer participation in that area if we want to make it down there. And if they want to take it down there should be a lot of liquidity below 70 from all this buyer participation that we're seeing above 70. Right, it doesn't take a special chart to see that. You can just see it right as inside of the structure, as well as inside of the price action. But we should also have some stops above 82 as well. So this could go in either direction, right? So once again, that takes us back to following the plan and doing whatever the plan says to do, and staying consistent to the plan and not trying to be smarter than the market. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and shut down the shop for the day. I appreciate everybody for coming through, hanging out with me, trading with me, all that good stuff. I hope you have a good rest of your day, good rest of your week. Be on the lookout for some more content coming from me in the near future. And until next time, trade it easy.